High school, a time in most people's lives where friendships are developed, memories are made, and the journey from child to adult takes its first steps. Oftentimes, those first steps include your first time behind the wheel of a vehicle, or maybe your first job. For some people, it's your first kiss. But in the small town of Star City, West Virginia, these first steps were cut short for a trio of teenagers. And it all begins with the disappearance of 16-year-old Skylar Neese. Hello, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Banter, the podcast aimed at bringing you your dose of murder relaxation. So, just sit back and enjoy. Certainly is. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the True Crime Banter podcast.
Hello.
You guys may notice that we've got some special guests in the building. Mm-hmm. What's your name?
I'm OG.
Oh,
Christiana.
OG Christian.
Yeah. Let's go around this little, very small circle.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys. Who are you?
I'm Joey.
Oh, hey, Joey. Nice to meet you.
And
I'm so excited.
Kylie.
Welcome to the podcast. If you guys are watching on the YouTube channel, these are the family members.
Yeah.
Joey is Joey Toast. We've shouted her out before.
We've shouted her out so
They've
many
been
times.
waiting, the fans.
And as far as Kylan goes, we've shit talked him a long time.
I shouted out my sister who he thought was him. So
oh yeah, that's right. That was a
count.
long time ago.
From California.
Kaylin O.
That's right. Yeah.
Kaylin O.
So yeah, welcome you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. For the bit of banter for today.
Mm-hmm. We're passing it off.
We're passing the torch to
we don't
Joey
have to do
Toast
anything
herself,
this time.
and I'm telling you guys,
so
she has
excited.
been so adamant
So
about when
excited.
she's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, but also I fucked up my bit of banter, so we had to restart.
Yeah, well,
but we're okay.
Really quick, though, do you want to tell people what it was going to be
I
originally?
want to tell what it is because I feel as if I've made it up.
Okay, go ahead.
So basically, I was watching this thing, I think it was like 2 years ago. I'm convinced that I told you.
Yeah.
But now I'm like unsure if I just made all of this up and it's all a
Sometimes
fever
that's
dream.
how it be, yeah.
So I basically watched this thing. It's basically the idea of like things that cannot be explained by science.
Yeah.
And so like there was that staircase thing I talked about where people like walk to the top of these staircases that exist in nature just randomly and no one knows why they're there.
Yeah,
Then
totally.
people go crazy. Shut up, Riley. But also there was this thing about a painting in like the 80s in France. I'm only telling this because I know somebody will know.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's this
all right.
painting that was like delivered to an art museum during an exhibit and nobody knows who dropped it off basically. And like they were like, don't unveil it until like it's time. And they could never find who dropped this off. But the painting, all the people that like saw the painting, or like a good majority, I don't remember the exact details, but like enough people that they removed, like they took the painting away, either like went insane or like went insane and then died within like a week of seeing this painting. And then somewhere, the middle is what I don't really exactly remember, like how it got into like government property, like became government property.
Someone has to know about this.
Yeah, and then like so they sent people in, and like every person they've sent in to like look at this painting in real life has like died. It's fucking
Nice.
weird. And so I brought it up because it's
So
parallel.
welcome to True Crime Banter.
Pretty much.
My sister always talking about ghosts and Riley.
Yeah, and
saying
all
that we
kinds of
shouldn't
stuff.
talk about ghosts and aliens because
Yeah.
he's a hater.
Well.
He hasn't
I'm
experienced
agnostic.
it yet. I'm agnostic when
It's
it
a new
comes
word.
to aliens.
But as we've covered, that's not your bit of banter.
It's not my bit of banter.
What do we have for
So
bit of
we're
banter?
gonna play like that game that they play on like Jimmy Fallon
I'm
and
so
stuff.
excited right now.
Where
I'm so
like
excited.
basically, I don't know if it's like the newlywed game or what it is, but basically, I'm gonna ask Christian 5 questions like to her, and Riley's gonna try to guess what her answer is to it. And like you
okay.
guys kind of
All right.
have to like work. I mean,
So
you're
that's
winning
what these
points.
boards
She's
are for
winning
here.
points. Yeah. So Riley is gonna write down. So I'll ask a question. Like for example, like what is Christian's name? Christian's gonna write down
Right.
Christian, and you're gonna guess what Christian wrote down.
Okay. All right.
And so I have
You might
5
get it
questions
right.
for each of you, and then a bonus question.
So,
For Christian.
really quick. So,
Yeah.
are you going to ask me these in a row? So are we doing these one at a time?
I think we should do them in a row.
Okay.
Because I think it'll get confusing.
Okay.
And we're going to see, like, who, I guess, knows the other person
excited
better.
now. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So
Alright.
I'm starting it off easy.
Okay.
We're going to go
Okay.
with Christian.
Okay.
Starting it off
So I have to
easy.
guess what she's going to
Yeah, so you're both going to write it down.
Right.
And then you have however
So
much
excited
time.
right
And then you're going to flip them at the same time, and we're going to see if the answers are the same.
Okay.
So the YouTube fam will be happy.
Before
with
we get
this.
into this, if you guys aren't in for the banter, feel free to skip ahead. This is probably going to be a bit longer
Yeah.
than typical.
It's like 15,
So if
20,
you guys want to
somewhere
get to know us, feel free to continue watching. If you don't like us and just
there.
want
And also, who
the
fucking
crime,
cares? Just
fuck off.
yeah.
And then and here we go.
Okay, question number 1. What is Christian's favorite snack?
Ooh, this is okay.
Oh,
And I guess just like hold them to yourself when
You
you're
should
finished.
really
Are we
know this.
ready? Don't look,
Oh, yeah,
Riley.
yeah. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. Ready
Yeah.
and flip. Christian wrote
Oh,
goldfish and Dot's pretzels.
And I wrote-
he wrote goldfish and Dot's pretzels. Like
too good with
slash.
it.
They
I'm too
both
good
put a
with it.
slash. That is so okay. So 1 point for Riley. He
You know
gets
why?
a
Because he
point.
buys them. He buys this combo for me all the time.
Okay.
How do I
Okay.
wipe this clean?
I don't know. I'm just doing
Shit.
2. I'm just doing
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Okay,
Alright,
just
yeah.
write it again. We'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Yep.
Whatever.
Okay,
write
question
it
number
somewhere else.
2.
Okay.
Who is Christian's celebrity crush?
Oh God.
You know.
The panic in the room is real.
I'm not good with celebrity names. So all right, ready.
Okay.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Jeff Goldblum.
So good. I love, dude, Jeff Goldblum.
2 for 2.
Those commercials,
Thank
what
you.
is it, like Verity or something?
No, it's like
Like-
apartments.com or something.
Apartments.com.
Yeah.
Dude, I get it. Riley's on a streak. He's 2 for 2.
If he died, it would be like Stanley Tucci. Yeah.
God, I also love him.
Yep. Okay.
Question
you're
number
killing it.
3.
Okay.
What was Christian's biggest childhood fear? Like, what were you most afraid of as a kid?
All right, I'm gonna answer what I think. Okay.
Even I don't know. Wait, do you know?
I had a guess. I think it was
I'm
more.
gonna
It's
write
not
what
like
I
a.
think your guess
it's
might
not
be.
like like I think it's. I think I'm thinking more vague. Like generally,
Okay.
like what was something Christian thought about that? She was like, "That's scary."
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Because that's what you sound.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
Okay,
Yeah,
3,
I-
2,
Set,
1.
go.
Where did you
Oh
write it?
God.
Joey dying, being ugly. Christian wrote being ugly.
Wow.
Wow.
Superficial.
And then Riley wrote Joey dying.
You said.
I was thinking you were gonna say something like ghosts or aliens because your dad was like taking you alien
I was
hunting.
never scared of them.
No, but
I
you also
welcomed
watched
them.
so many scary and like really like not what is it NSFW but like for kids.
Wait, what?
Not safe for children.
Not NSFC.
NSFW,
Okay.
not safe for work.
Not safe
That
for
whole
children.
like yeah, but for children.
Okay.
So not safe
You
for
said
children.
younger.
And yeah, NSFC.
There we go. We
The
did it.
UFC
We got
is
there.
the organ.
I was very shallow when I was little.
Wow.
I was
All right.
never scared of ghosts and stuff.
Were
I
you- were you
invited
afraid-
them into my life.
Were you afraid of being ugly because you were ugly?
Yes. Were we? Oh,
Do
really?
you
remember
should
the
put-
phase?
younger?
Do we remember the phase where Christian wore glasses?
Yes.
She had glasses for like a
traumatized.
year and then
Thank
you grew
you.
out of
I
it.
wonder if
so,
you should have put stain ugly then.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, next
Shit.
question.
Next
Next
question.
question.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Go ahead.
How would Christian finish this sentence?
All right then.
Girl, we've got ...
Girl,
Girl,
we've
we've got ...
Oh, girl,
This is-
you
yeah.
already know.
Okay.
You have to know.
No.
You might know. Oh. Okay.
Oh my god.
I don't.
Okay. Ready?
I was like trying to set
It's
you
in
up
the
for
bottom
success
corner.
here.
I know.
I know.
The
Ready? 3, 2,
girl-
1.
I put problems.
Girl, we've got
Work to do.
Work to do.
Pass me the paint
and
and
glue. Perfect
Is
isn't easy, but
What are we
This
quoting
was
right
rigged
now?
from the beginning.
What
This
are we
was
quoting
rigged.
right now?
He had no chance this
No,
entire
I really
time.
we do that all the time. I was trying to set him up.
Not
I
enough.
was trying to make it like hard enough that he had to think about it, and it wasn't just like, "How did we meet?" And Riley was like,
Yeah.
"When I stalked her at the gym."
He has like 4 slots in there, all filled with like, what are her snacks? What are her fears?
What are her needs? What's her hierarchy of
True.
needs?
True.
Pretzels,
Goldfish.
moisturizer,
Yes.
water,
Aquaphor.
Tito, and Tito's.
True.
Tito. Okay.
Is
all
that
right.
the fifth
Question
one?
number
No,
5.
question
Here we go.
number 5.
Finally, I got 2 points so far.
Does Riley get 5 questions too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. Okay.
And you have a bonus question.
Okay, I'm so excited.
And there's only one right answer to this
Okay.
question.
Okay.
Okay, but number 5. Who is Christian's favorite fictional character?
Favorite fictional character. I feel like this is yours though.
No, I'm just asking a
That what
question.
I'm thinking.
I don't even necessarily know the answer.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
just saying like
Okay.
something like it doesn't have to be like Disney or like anything. Just like what is her favorite all time? Like she always enjoys that. I don't know, like mine would be
All right. You know what?
Kai,
I
what's
like
yours?
it though. I like this idea.
All right.
Who's your
10 seconds.
Monster
Fictional
from Big
character.
Mouth.
hormone monster?
I forgot you
good
were here.
one.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm just gonna do. Oh.
Kyle,
I
have
just
you-
lost it. I just lost it.
You never
Honestly,
had it. There's no
It's
fucking
true.
way.
Even I didn't have it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just putting Meg Griffin.
Meg
I don't-
Griffin.
Eye to eye guy.
Oh my
This is
god.
just an us
Okay, from
bonding
the Goofy
podcast. This
movie.
is the greatest. Like, I didn't mean to set you
Sing
up
it.
for
Sing
failure.
it. No, sing it. You have to sing it.
What is the? I just lost it.
Da, da, da,
Emotion.
Yeah, anybody who's in this age group of the Goofy movie's gonna know. Yeah, that song's a
The
banger.
Goofy movie. It's the superstar.
Yeah,
Pop star.
it's the guy, and then he sings, and then they
Okay.
do the dance. If
Yeah.
we live this time, I would never. You know.
This is amazing. Do you guys just want to leave? Do you guys just want to
Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm made for the small screen.
Okay.
The mini screen.
phone
And made for the
screen.
iPhone.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
say.
what did we get for points?
I got 2.
Riley got 2 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna read the bonus one because it's
1,
about Christian,
2.
and then I'll let Kylan do
All
Riley's
right, I got
question.
a chance. Let's do it.
Okay.
Bonus question.
Okay.
And I need you to be brutally honest. I
Okay.
need you to answer this question.
Fuck, okay.
Like, there's
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
who is Christian's favorite sibling?
Oh, this is
Careful with this answer.
I know who our mom's favorite child is.
Now Kylan speaks up.
All right, wait.
Okay.
All right, I'm
3,
ready.
2, 1.
But Kaylin L.
Kaylin
She's gonna do our wedding planning.
Joseph Stats left side. I was
Okay.
trying to think. No one's gonna get this, Christian. I was trying to think of a question of how I could incorporate a question about mom in a cat suit.
Oh.
And I-
What is mom?
Our mom's here. That's why she's looking over there.
Yeah, remember it was taco night when we
It
did
was taco
that.
night, and we were sitting at the table, and I don't really remember the
Me
context,
either.
but we I don't know, whenever you're joking and you kind of build the story, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this thing, and then Christian said, and then mom walks out in a cat suit, and then it was like
Something
it
about
was,
mom. No, it was mama going to school or something. Like she was going to like a fundraiser or something.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was something about like the cat, but Catwoman suit, like
Yeah,
the leather
Mom had
like
a cat suit on
and then she was
at our
like,
high school, and we cried.
and we were
I would've
laughing.
just
I
cried
remember
laughing.
standing over you,
There's
and you
pictures
were
of me
crying.
spitting out taco meat.
Yes,
Because Joey took pictures of
Oh
me.
my god! When
while
you,
I was eating
oh
tacos.
my god! I remember that, and you were wearing like
Yeah.
it was like a spirit day or something too. So you
It
had
was
like a
really
spirit.
bad.
Whatever.
Really
We
bad.
need to move on. We're just gonna
Okay.
keep going.
All
That's
right,
good.
so I've got
Okay.
2 points.
Yeah.
I probably would
2
have
out
said
of
Joey.
5.
I would have said Joey, but
Wait, how did you
can't be
erase
biased.
yours?
I'm just rubbing it real hard. Real
You
hard.
just put your finger in some liquid.
And so here we go. And now it's my turn.
Does anyone want to get some toilet paper really
Hey,
quick?
no,
for
I got this. Don't you worry about it.
No, but we had to
do it.
wipe off the board.
We have to start over. I'm gonna
got
fail
you, I
so
got you.
bad.
No, I think
I don't think I'm gonna know anything.
Riley's
about
are a
Riley.
little bit vaguer.
I just met him,
because,
so I don't
like-
think I'm gonna remember anything about him.
just met him.
Perfect.
Thanks,
I
John.
just met him.
That's
Our beautiful Vanna White over here. Thank you.
There we do. There
Okay.
we do.
There we do.
Okay.
Okay, go
All right.
ahead.
Question
Okay.
All right.
number 1.
I'm so excited.
All right. Don't be nervous because this could just make or break your relationship.
It's fine.
This will break.
I still got the ring. That's all I care about. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. If Riley won the lottery, what would be the first material thing he would buy?
Ooh, good question.
Like new thing I would buy.
I guess I wrote it in the sense of like
What would I
not
spend
like
it on first?
investing in stocks or paying
Well,
off a
I was gonna
debt.
buy
Like
FTX or whatever.
shut up. Notice like something like
Okay.
dumb,
Something
like a
material.
sports
Yeah.
car. Like
All right.
I'm ready when you're ready.
Yep. 3, 2,
Ready?
1.
House.
Yep.
tech shit. That's too big of a spectrum, Christian.
Well,
that could
he
be
likes
literally
random
anything.
shit with
That's true.
wires. I don't
That's
know what he
true.
likes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right,
Okay.
you're 1 for 1.
Cool.
Guess.
Yeah.
I guess. There,
Okay,
you
go
can't see
ahead.
my board from here, can you?
No,
I don't know
I just
about
know
that.
you that
No
well.
cheating.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. What is Riley's biggest guilty pleasure?
I repeat, what is Riley's biggest guilty pleasure?
The biggest.
Oh, you should.
one.
You should.
Ooh, I like that. Keep doing that.
I think you should be able to guess this.
Remember, this is a show for children.
Oh, sorry.
ready?
Wait a minute. NSFC. Oops.
Okay, ready?
All right.
Ready and go.
Reveal.
What'd you put?
Wait,
You
what?
wrote that? Oh
What-
my
no,
god!
What did you,
yes.
what did you put?
You wrote it
say?
so
no,
small.
no.
though.
What did you put? You gotta put.
He wrote.
I will risk it. I'm for the camera.
Christian wrote because this is the worst thing we could have
Oh
used. We
my.
weren't prepared for this, so you can't even read the fucking board. Christian wrote spicy snacks.
That's a guilty pleasure? I am
Yeah.
firmly proud of that.
No, you're not. You know you
Riley's
hide it.
Spicy
Riley's
snacks?
Yeah.
Riley's
I
guilty
love- I
pleasure
love-
is actually,
put-
and no one's fucking
I put
shocked.
Taylor Swift / pop music.
Taylor Swift.
The
I didn't
Swifty.
think we were gonna tell people about that.
If no
That
one
was a
knew,
secret.
if
True
no
crime
one knew,
band.
Riley is
As
in
if they
fact a
don't-
Swiftie.
okay.
Swifties out there, we have a Swiftie.
Okay, let's keep going.
You got the ring. I can say whatever I want.
Question number 3.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
What is Riley's favorite movie?
First off, do we want to clarify
Is it, if it's a franchise or not?
child's movie or like
I think just
all-time
like
favorite
whatever
movie?
the answer is. Like just the
I
first thing
have
that you're like,
one
this is my
movie that
favorite.
always comes to mind because I'm not a
No,
Christian
but now
knows-
see, now you're like, just
Yeah.
answer
Yep,
it how
yep.
you hear it because you're giving her a hint now.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
yep,
And she's a
yep.
cheater.
All right.
I was kind of general. Fine, ready?
Okay. All
1,
right.
2, 3, go.
What does it say? Scream franchise.
Oh,
you
that's
say?
good.
Aladdin!
That's so good.
Oh.
See,
Okay.
see,
LA, as long
But
as you acknowledge
I
it.
feel at least, even if you
I
lose,
forget.
I feel at least as if we've left knowing
Yeah.
that you know
Yes.
each other.
Yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
I love the Scream movie. That's where I was
Yeah.
kind of favorite movie is like instant Aladdin. My cat's name is Abu,
Yeah.
but like being an adult,
Riff raff.
yes, probably.
Street rat.
Being an adult.
I don't buy that.
We have to cut this off right
Okay,
now.
all right.
Okay, okay.
But yes, I would say the Scream franchise is probably like I could watch Scream and Scream 2
Okay,
over and over.
so here we
again.
go.
Kristen's like, I'm getting a
So
divorce.
this is going to end the relationship.
Okay.
I warned you guys.
Okay, okay.
All right. What is
Okay.
Riley's biggest pet peeve? I know. You got to pick
Sorry.
one.
Yeah, actually, what would it be? Okay,
Really?
I'm gonna
Hold on.
okay,
I wish that we chose a different vessel to put these on.
I know,
Vest.
me too.
like a spoon. All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What did you write? Because you're the one guessing.
I wrote unorganized.
Unorganized.
Wait. We gotta say into the microphone.
Unorganized / tangled cords.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I know.
All right.
Riley wrote.
He hates
I
tangled
put drink
cords.
stuff left on counter.
I was going to ask a question about that for the viewers out there because they must know. There is
They
a
don't.
dilemma.
We haven't gone there yet.
You know what?
The ice, one day they'll
For-
tell the
for the
ice
next bit
cube
of
and the
banter.
drink
Your
dilemma.
Was
Remember?
that the fifth question?
Yes. Nope, we
No,
got one
we have
more.
One more.
Shit.
You
That
gotta-
is so
you gotta
funny.
get
I
this
was
right to
trying to
time
come
me
up with a
up.
question to ask about that, but I didn't know if you wanted to let the world know yet about
Maybe
the
I'll
only
answer next
fight
time.
that this couple has ever
Ever
had
had in almost 5
is
years.
the stupidest shit
right.
I've ever heard.
Oh fuck. Okay, let's go to
Okay,
the next one.
go ahead.
All right, last question. Here we go. You need this to tie, otherwise I win.
Oh yeah,
All right.
All right. No
I've heard their
pressure.
Yeah, no
points.
press.
What is Riley's least favorite food?
Got it.
Clearly not spicy snacks.
Clearly.
My least favorite food. I mean, I'm gonna put.
Or I guess like thing.
It's pretty general, but all right, 3.
Really? Wait.
Oh.
We're about
No,
to say the
he's
same
giving
thing.
hints. You've committed.
2,
Okay.
He's always giving hints.
1.
Okay.
Go.
Sour cream.
Oh, that's.
See, he knows.
Okay.
What is it? What is it? What did
She
you write?
knows me better
Seafood?
than I.
Did you write seafood?
I put
That's
seafood.
our shared hatred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
he really hates
Yes,
sour cream.
I don't understand what the whole deal is with that.
my
thing.
mom
What the-
my mom had an
the
answer. What
fad.
were you gonna
What
say?
would you say?
Tomatoes. See, I
Oh.
would have said tomatoes.
It's almost too obvious.
That's a
though.
shared one too.
Yeah.
See, yeah. So I'm
But
thinking
what's your
like
hatred now in order? Rank the seafood, tomatoes, and sour cream.
sour cream, tomato, seafood.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes I just don't remember myself. You know.
I know. That's
get
why
Sometimes
I'm
I just
here.
really lose
get
who I
lost
am.
in the
I
sauce.
feel like I should be getting some kind of points though because the last 2 he's been like, oh yeah, about his own self.
So you
That's what a
get,
cheater
you
would
get 2
say.
half points, and now
So
you have
1.
2 full points.
So we're tied. What's the bonus question? Does he have one?
He does not.
No.
Wow.
darn.
Prepared banter or what? That off now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
all right.
good.
Well, there it is for the bit of
It's all
banter.
right.
Joey, thank you
Yeah.
for joining.
Thanks,
The
Josephine.
whole
Yeah.
like
Appreciate
that
That was amazing.
yeah,
So
family
great.
took place
Yep.
in that. So
Amazing.
if you guys enjoyed it, hope you enjoyed it. And now we're gonna get right into the case of
Yeah,
Skylar Neese.
so
Neese.
Here
Neese.
we go.
Skylar Neese.
Skylar Neese.
Here we go. Here we go.
The story of Skylar Neese begins the night of July 5th, 2012. But before we get into that night, I want to give a small bit of backstory to Skylar and her family. Skylar was born February 10th, 1996, to her parents David and Mary Neese. Skylar was David and Mary's only child, and as many children are in the world, she was their everything. As a little girl, Skylar had big, almost Disney-like eyes, and as a family friend describes, they just made you want to pick her up and squeeze her. As time passes by year, Skylar continues to grow into her own unique self. In school, she shined bright throughout, being a straight-A student with the hopes of becoming a criminal lawyer. In high school, she was described as being all about her friends, despite the fact that she excelled in class and at the same time had a job working at Wendy's. She always made sure to find time for her friends, specifically her 2 best friends, Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf. The 3 of them were a trio to be reckoned with, referring to themselves as the 3 Musketeers, and as another classmate of theirs described, they were seemingly together every second of every day. As with every group of high school friends, they were bound to get into a little bit of trouble. But as David and Mary explained, they just chalked it up to teenagers being teenagers. This quote-unquote trouble includes an incident of the 3 of them sneaking out to eventually get caught for being out past curfew, for minors, that is. But the 3 of them, Skylar, Sheila, and Rachel, would seemingly remain together through thick and thin, always by each other's side. Any questions so far?
No, not so
No,
far.
I think.
I'm just waiting for the bad stuff to happen.
I know. I'm
honestly,
a little nervous.
Yeah.
Okay. This brings us to the evening of July 5th, 2012. 16-year-old Skylar Neese gets home from her shift working at Wendy's. She walks through the door of the Neese household, goes into her parents' bedroom, gives her mom a hug and a kiss, and says, "I love you." And then she goes into her bedroom for the remainder of the night. And unbeknownst to David and Mary, that quick little "I love you" would be the last words they'd ever hear from her. The next day, Skylar's dad walks into her room and notices that she isn't home. He tries calling Skylar's phone, but no answer. This worried him a bit, as he and Skylar had plans to get lunch that day. So he then calls around to Skylar's mom and then her friends, none of them having seen or heard from her that day. And that's when David decides to walk outside, and what he finds outside is even more cause for concern. Because what he saw when he walked around the corner to the side of their apartment complex was... Any guesses?
Her car?
I was going to say her car. Her
Maybe she didn't have
clothes,
a
her
car.
bag.
Okay.
What?
It was a bench pulled up just below Skylar's bedroom window.
Shit.
Oh.
And the screen of her window was completely removed. Skylar's dad is now on the verge of full panic mode. What happened to her? Why is there a bench right below the window? Was she abducted? Did she sneak out again? What the hell is going on? So David, he calls Skylar's mom, Mary, and tells her what he found. And Mary takes in the information, calms David down a little bit, and says, listen, Skylar's supposed to start work at 4 o'clock today at Wendy's. So we'll let 4 o'clock roll around, give her a few minutes to clock in and get settled, and then we'll call her work and make sure that she made it there on time. Seems reasonable enough. And so 4 o'clock comes, and before Mary can even pick up her phone to start dialing, it rings. Mary answers, and on the other end of the line is...
Police.
Wendy's.
Wendy's.
What?
Wendy's. Ooh, 2 for 3. You
Yeah.
almost got that.
I already watched this earlier. Sorry.
Asking if Skylar is going to be coming to work today. So obviously, I think as most parents would act, the alarm bells start ringing, especially with a child like Skylar. Yeah, she was known to getting in a little bit of trouble here and there, but she was responsible as they come. And when it comes to work and school, she always did what was supposed to be done. She wouldn't miss a shift unless there was an emergency. But before Skylar's parents could even process what to do next, the phone then rings again, and this time, who is it on the other end? No guesses from Christian.
One of her friends, of the 2 girls that she's really good friends with.
It's pretty good. It is. It's Skylar's best
hell
friend,
yeah.
Sheila.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wait, did the people from Wendy's say anything other than she's just not here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know
I've
if that
worked
was,
at
like-
McDonald's, and
Yeah.
basically, if you're not there on time, they basically just call me and like,
Also,
are you...
too, she's a child, so you
Yeah.
call
Yeah,
your
she's
parents.
a minor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheila confessed to Mary that she needed to tell her the truth. The night before, after Skylar had gotten home and told her parents that she loved them, Skylar didn't really head off to bed. Skylar waited until her parents fell asleep and had snuck out the window to meet up with both Sheila and Rachel. The 3 of them went to go for a late-night joyride out to a spot in the forest where they had gone to smoke weed in the past. Sheila explains that just before midnight, they made their way back to the street that Skylar's apartment was located on. Skylar insisted that they drop her off a little bit further down the road, though, in an effort to not get caught when she tried to sneak back in. And suddenly, the missing window screen and the bench placed just below her window made a lot more sense. Skylar was going to use the bench to get herself back into the room quietly without alerting her parents. The only question now is, did she ever make it back in? Mary's first instinct is that someone had abducted her daughter. That in those short few minutes between Skylar being dropped off and making her way back to her window, someone had seen her and taken her. David immediately calls the police to explain the situation, and the cause for concern is now at an all-time high.
You know, something that I think I forgot to ask is, what were her means of transportation of getting to work? How did she usually get to work? Do you remember? 'Cause I watched this earlier. I can't remember what they
I
said.
actually don't remember either.
Yeah.
I don't think she had her own car. I think
Right.
she either used a parent's car or
I think
had a
that-
friend take her to
I
work.
think that, like, if she... had a car, it would have been relevant to the story because the dad would have been like, her car was here or it wasn't here.
Yeah, but also too, if she used her parents' car,
Because
it
she's
wouldn't be there, or it
16
would be there.
years old.
So maybe she walked, maybe she took the
probably-
bus.
maybe
public
she-
transportation.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been. 'cause
If there was
the
a
dad,
friend, if there was a friend that normally took you, you would just call them and be like, "What did you take her to work today?"
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah, so in the past, Christian and we've discussed the, I guess, change or difference in like criminal activity nowadays as like technology has been developed. So you don't see a lot of like serial killers nowadays getting away with it. It seems like people are getting caught a lot easier now
yeah,
because
so they don't have the chance to become a serial killer. Yeah.
exactly. And so it kind of depends on who you are and I guess what your outlook is on the whole Big Brother
Yeah.
situation.
Right.
But in my eyes, one of the beauties of modern technology is the both affordability and availability of security cameras.
Right.
And one of the biggest breaks in this case can be accredited to exactly that. It didn't take long for investigators to pull the security footage from the Neese's apartment complex. Now, remember, Sheila, she let Mary know that they dropped Skylar off just before midnight the night before. And as the police go back and review the tape, what they see is about a half hour past midnight, so like 12:30 a.m.-ish. It's a car pulling up right in front of the Neese household. And seconds later, Skylar is seen walking from her bedroom to the unknown car and getting into the back seat.
So she went home and then left again?
And then met up with somebody else.
Oh.
The question now, or I guess multiple questions, are now whose car is this and where do they end up going? Can we track it down? Unfortunately, the footage was like too grainy to make out make, model, or license plate. But at least you kind of have an idea that, or I guess a timetable is what you would call it.
Yeah.
So at least, I guess I'm saying at least, these are the questions in David and Mary's eyes, right? Because if I'm the parents of Skylar, I'm wondering, we need to find out who this is, who she's with. In the eyes of investigators, what they see is a 16-year-old teenager voluntarily getting into a vehicle and leaving in what they believe could possibly be a simple case of a runaway teen. Still serious and still something that they want to get to the bottom of, but that difference in outlook now prevents them from issuing an Amber Alert, which makes the chances of Skylar being, I guess, located diminished even a little bit more.
Yeah.
So days started to pass without a sign of where Skylar could be. Flyers were posted all over town. News outlets covered the story in hopes that anyone, would recognize her. Sheila, she spent time with Skylar's mom, Mary, sitting on Skylar's bed, crying, and not knowing what was to come, or if anything were to come at all. As reality of the situation starts to become clear, Mary starts to get a sad, sinking feeling. It wasn't like Skylar to just run off like this. She was too good of a kid. Just over a week later, a candlelight vigil was held for Skylar in the hopes of bringing more attention to the case and to try to finally get answers to what happened, what's going on. And I thought at first, I think it would be weird to hold a candlelight vigil that soon.
I did think that.
Yeah. I understand, the idea to,
But I feel
get
like
it out there.
oftentimes, that just seems like something you'd maybe hold. How many days did you say it was?
Not, about a week after.
A week. It's not like it's a month.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel
I feel like
you're still
vigils
holding out
kind of
hope at that
equal,
point. The
someone's
loss.
passed.
Right.
Yeah, but also I don't know. Candlelight vigils to me in my mind don't mean somebody died. But it also doesn't mean somebody just went to the store either. It's we know something's wrong and we're just hoping they come back.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Really,
So to me it makes sense. I don't think that's soon because it's a child it's a child. Don't forget it's a fucking child. It's not an 8-year-old, but
No,
it's still a child
16-year-old, yeah.
who doesn't have a car, and no one's heard from them. When these girls are this age, their friends are their life. Their friends have not heard from her, as far as they know. And where else would they have gone?
That is
Their
a really good point. I
bank
feel like
cards weren't touched, nothing. So
Especially
it all
since her
leads.
friend-
It all points to like not good.
Yeah, her friend came to the parents and were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
something's
this is
wrong.
what actually happened.
Nothing seems okay
Like,
about this.
because I feel like if you were, yeah, this is like,
Yeah.
it's sus for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, so at this vigil, Rachel, Sheila, and the rest of Skylar's family and friends were all in attendance. Skylar's dad pulls the two girls close as the tears just can't seem to stop. And Mary, knowing that the police are still doing whatever they can to track Skylar down, turns towards David and tells him, whatever we need to do, we need to make sure we help these girls.
her friends. Yeah,
Yeah. After all, the three of them were practically sisters, and they were a trio, sadly now cut down to just two. As the investigators continue their due diligence, certain things became a little more clear, and more signs started popping up. So you briefly just mentioned it. The first thing that they realized is that Skylar was no longer using her cell phone or an ATM card, which typically is not a great sign. Unless, like, you see an ATM transaction of cash being pulled out,
Right.
in a bundle, usually they're going to be using their ATM card. Some sort of way to pay for things. So, not a good look.
And also, I feel like teenagers aren't necessarily thinking and or aware of like the signals their cell phone put off.
True. Yeah.
So like it's not like she's like trying to sneakily use her phone. It's just
Turning it
not
off
being
and then
used.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not pinging anything. So it seems less and less likely that this is a case of a runaway. Second is that the same night that Skylar had gone missing, there were 2 bank robberies that occurred in the nearby town of Blacksville. And the investigator for those 2 robberies was then pulled into the Skylar Neese case, trying to figure out if the 2 situations were at all linked together. And I will say the first time I looked into this, I was like, these bank robberies don't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that seems random.
But it kind of, it pulls itself together as time starts passing. So time continues to pass. And with no additional leads as to where Skylar might be. So as the school year, I guess the new school year nears, closer to its beginning, more and more rumors begin to pop up. Most notably a rumor that Skylar was at a party near Blacksville the night that she went missing, and that something had gone wrong with some teenager that mistakenly overdosed, and that the people who ended up disposing of that body were the same 2 people who ended up robbing the banks that night. So this is where
Before or after?
That is the question. So to me, it kind of seems a little far-fetched, but obviously they're going to do whatever. I mean, investigators are going to take any information they can.
Was it just more like what were the other things happening that night, and that was just was
Right.
it just
Pretty
not
much.
like a super
like to see if they're connected, kind of thing.
It's not like it's like a super. I'm assuming it's probably not a very dangerous
Yeah,
area.
they're not just
that
like,
they're like,
like-
what are the chances there's 2 robberies and a girl went
And a
missing,
murder
and we
or
haven't had
something,
anything
yeah.
happen in 4 weeks, kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just kind of taking. I mean, I would almost say gladly or gleefully, not gleefully, but it's good to hear that they're taking any information serious.
Yeah.
Like too many times, police just brush it to the side, be like, no,
There's
not,
no way
not
that's related.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm not sure what their like initial reaction was to that.
Yeah.
Hearing all of these.
And you
things.
said that the police on her case were like pulled in the guy from the bank robbery thing.
Exactly.
I can't imagine how they would be connected.
Yeah. No, it would be, like I said, a little far-fetched, but at least it's nice to hear that they're taking any
Yeah,
information
yeah,
they
yeah.
can. Here comes September, only a couple months after Skylar's disappearance, and the new school year is upon us. And I wanted to ask you guys, put yourself in the shoes of Skylar's friends and classmates. How do you think you would be if you're in their situation? Returning to school, your friend is still missing, and no one has really any idea as to where she might be or where she is.
I think it would be one of those things where, like, I think it'd be probably really hard to grasp a really serious situation as like a teenager where everyone would, I think it would have like the same vibe of like some really serious drama at school where like everyone's kind of like weird, but like no one's really talking about it, but they're talking in like whispers. But I don't think people like, I don't think that you could grasp that because there was like a couple fucked up things that happened in high school to us. And I remember like pretty severe things that I remember like going to school was just fucking weird. Like nobody could focus, and even the teachers were like, we got to talk about this.
Back to normal,
but like, yeah, like we're gonna address it, and like it was just like really like we're gonna have all our feelings about it, but we're not gonna do anything, kind of thing. That's what I think would happen.
How would you act, Guy?
I think what would happen is someone would start some sort of rumor, and no one would want to actually think about how bad it could be, and everyone would just run with that first word of mouth and just kind of call it good.
I think like you guys kind of said the same thing, where you start whispering, talking about what might have happened, and that's what happened in this situation. I think expectedly is that rumors started to swirl. We already talked about her being a possible overdose victim.
Yeah.
And then it's like, things go on from there, and it's like all these rumors get thrown out there, and of course police are stuck having to figure out which ones are just rumors, which ones should we follow. So they start to swirl, and police are now in the offices of University High School, the high school that they went to. And one by one, they are bringing in any and every student they believe might have information on her whereabouts. And as nerve-wracking as it might be to be a teenager being questioned in the disappearance of a fellow teenager, a few of the students were fairly glad that the police were still there. And why, you might ask? Well, that's because some of the students who were well aware of the Three Musketeers, they felt like Rachel and Sheila were a little too back to normal in their everyday lives. And we probably won't post the videos, but you can find it pretty easily by Googling these videos, I guess, or searching them on YouTube. But there's videos of Rachel and Sheila seemingly living their life as if Skylar never went missing. Rachel had been cast as the lead role in a school play, while Sheila was back to making her same stupid jokes that always kept her friends laughing. And I believe this is where, like, the person, it depends on the person, I feel like. Like, the amount of time and the way you act varies from person to person when you're trying to get over or deal with something.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be like remiss, or I don't feel too weird that they're getting back to normal life.
But I also feel like people grieve in different ways, but usually it's something that is abnormal to them. Whether they're like being like her making dumb jokes, whether she's like doing it inappropriately or when it's not accurate and she's being normal to her, but there's something that's like, or they like freak out or they're really sensitive. There's always like something versus like being entirely like you
Maybe
don't care.
And
Like
sometimes
nothing
people will
happened.
start like a habit. They'll start drinking out of nowhere. Or,
Yeah.
something
Like I feel like
that.
something's always noticeable.
Yeah.
That if something's actually entirely normal, that is weird.
Or like if they do smoke weed,
Or like
if they're
not
doing
turning
it
in their
more often
homework.
than they're-
Yeah. Like things like that. Like if you were like being entirely normal, but you're like not doing your homework. Like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so the police, they felt the same way about Rachel and Sheila. They believed that the girls knew more about Skylar's whereabouts than they've been willing to share, and they wanted to get to the bottom of it. As months went on and the holidays neared, Rachel and Sheila were questioned by the police a number of times, including not just being pulled out of class randomly to be questioned, but also being pulled out of the stands during football games. They were being talked to by the police so often that David and Mary, Skylar's parents, both told the police that they need to kind of chill with the interrogations, that it was way too much for these poor girls whose friend is still missing. But police didn't pull back. In fact, they kept searching until two things came to their attention. First is some video evidence from a nearby gas station that showed the girls in their car heading east towards Blacksville, the same night that Skylar disappeared, opposite the direction that they claimed they went. And second was a ping from Rachel's cell phone that same night, near that same location, pinging off of a cell phone tower in Blacksville as well. So things are starting to kind of come together a little bit. After those two pieces of evidence, both police and Skylar's parents knew that Sheila and Rachel were withholding some sort of information. What is that information, though? And it was near the end of November when finally there was a small little breakthrough. During a questioning, Rachel admits that we lied. We did go to Blacksville with Skylar, but that's because that's where Skylar wanted to go. And that's where they dropped her off. Blacksville, which is the same town that those bank robber rumors came from. A day later, Sheila admitted to the same thing. But it's what happened just a month after that where everything was finally answered. Just days after Christmas, Rachel's mom calls the police. Rachel was seemingly having a breakdown, screaming in the background while her mom is telling the operator, "I've got a 16-year-old daughter that we can't get under control." And so I've actually got a clip of this that I'm going to play real quick. And hopefully it sounds okay.
She's running through the neighborhood. Give me the phone. Okay. No, this is over. This is over. My husband's trying to contain her. Please hurry.
That sounds almost fake.
It
Because it sounds scripted.
If it wasn't for me already listening to this earlier, I would have said the same thing. But she sounds, and I said the same thing earlier. I was like, it sounds like a poltergeist or something.
Yeah,
It
like
sounds
that's like
Wild.
Yeah.
not just like screaming at your mom.
No.
Like that's like
That's
you've
like
lost your
a
mind.
Demon is
You're
in
going,
your body. Yeah.
You're losing something. So it was just a few days after this wild outburst that investigators, the same investigator that was investigating the robberies in Blacksville, he was called to a meeting with Rachel and her attorney. And what Rachel says in this meeting changes everything. Per the investigator, they were in the room with Rachel asking her the question that they thought she'd be willing to answer. And then there's a hesitation from Rachel. She gets flush in the face, looks them in the eyes, and simply states, "We stabbed her." Rachel and Sheila had been planning for months to murder Skylar. They kept their relationship close with her, making things seem as if all was normal, if not better than ever, until that fateful night of July 5th. Skylar had snuck out to meet Sheila and Rachel for what she thought was going to be a fun night of joyriding. When they came to a spot in the woods that they stopped to smoke before, they got out of the car and started walking. Realizing that nobody had a lighter, Skylar turned around to go back to the car and get one. Once she turned around, Rachel and Sheila looked at each other, counted to 3. 1, 2, 3, and began stabbing her. The stabbing didn't stop. Skylar fought for survival, and she fought away the knife from Rachel. But she couldn't fight the knife away from Sheila. And the stabbing continued. And in the words of Rachel, the stabbing continued until there was silence, until Skylar's neck stopped making gurgling sounds. Now, the interesting part of this case is that this confession from Rachel took place at the very beginning of the new year, but it wasn't until April that the two girls were apprehended by the police. And in those months between Rachel's confession and the girls' arrests, police first needed to obtain, 1, a search warrant for Sheila's vehicle. And once they had that, they had to run a DNA test that was submitted from the trunk of her car. And when that came back as positive for Skylar's DNA, the arrests were then made. But maybe the most disturbing part of this case is that even after police had searched Sheila's car, with the warrant, obviously, Sheila was still tweeting things out to like, no rest for the wicked. And maybe most hauntingly, one single tweet that said, "We really did go on 3." Due to Rachel's willingness to help the police in obtaining the search warrant for Sheila, and her willingness to, I guess, assist the police. And so there was a moment during the investigation where they tried to get Rachel to set Sheila up and, I guess, admit to the murder.
Yeah, like talk about it.
Undercover. It didn't work. But Rachel still worked with the police, and eventually Rachel was, I guess because of this willingness to help, convicted for only second-degree murder after she pled guilty. This second-degree murder conviction left her with the sentence of 30 years in prison, eligible for parole after 10 years. Now, Sheila Eddy, though, she originally pleaded not guilty, but facing the idea of possibly more charges being brought upon her, randomly decided to change her plea to guilty. And she was in charge with first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with mercy, quote-unquote, which I guess in West Virginia means she's eligible for parole after 15 years. And I don't know if that has to do with her being a minor, but they did charge her as an adult, so it's a West Virginia thing. But yeah, that's the case of Skylar Neese. Now, the one thing that did come from this situation is that there's now a thing called Skylar law in West Virginia, which means that any situation that a minor goes missing, an Amber Alert can be issued, no matter whether there's reasonable doubt that maybe it's a teenager running away. It doesn't matter. They can send someone out there, send out an Amber Alert, and hopefully find the teenager.
I saw somewhere that her last words were "why," and she's being
That's
stabbed.
so
Yes.
To her friends, like
Yeah.
her friends, just all of a sudden are killing you.
Yeah. And so the weirdest, first off, are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, guys.
Did they ever figure out what the like?
Motive.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you'll say that, but like the bank robberies.
Oh,
Was that just like something that got caught in the storyline that
exactly.
like took it off the
not
rails?
important. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
I mean, I guess if like 2 crimes happen in the same
in a small
city,
same night.
in the
too.
same night, they're like,
you have to look
oh,
at
was it after, like, or was she involved, or like,
because it could have been something as simple as maybe she was walking to her car after her shift and 2 people stole her car and then used it to rob a bank, kind of thing.
yeah. Or I feel like oftentimes, like, not even just like in crime stories, but in general, you'll hear about something with teenagers that was so out of pocket, like that you did not expect. Like you'll be like, oh, when I was a teenager, I did this. My parents had no fucking idea. Or like, or like they think that you were like, you were doing something you
perfect kid.
weren't.
Yeah.
Or like, or even just like that, like they thought she, like this started out with her being like, that they assumed she was running away.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then like, and like that was the narrative.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, she straight up just got murdered by her friends.
Yeah, one of the weird, I guess, questions is why. Her last words. Those last words are what Rachel and Sheila said. Is that the last thing she asked was just why, and then of course they continued
Because
stabbing her.
fucking why?
Yeah, and there's not really a real answer. So their answer was because we didn't like her anymore, which seems a little absurd.
I've heard other motives in this one, and it's not like super substantiated, where Rachel and other girl's name,
Sheila.
Thank you. Rachel and Sheila were secretly lesbians.
So this is where I was gonna get
Yeah.
was, I don't want to say it was a few months before they killed her, but sometime prior to this incident, they during a sleepover, Sheila and Rachel, I don't know if they filmed like a sex tape together, but Skylar watched them like hooking up.
Yeah, probably
Oh.
something of sexual
But
And-
nature.
some story said there was a sex tape somewhere.
Yeah.
Said that.
And whatever it was, it started to cause like a divide or a rift within the friend group because slowly Skylar started getting pushed out as if maybe she didn't belong. There's stories out there where Rachel and Sheila would like coordinate outfits and then Skylar would show up and not.
That's such a teenage girl thing.
Right.
But my
No, it is.
my question is like, it still doesn't answer the question why.
Right. No,
Yes.
exactly.
Like, which is
Yeah,
just
where-
like, I get that you have feelings.
Yeah.
But like, what was like murder is the solution?
But that's exactly it. There's been a few cases of these where there's children that are killing children. And I told him earlier, I said, oh, I'm going to do the Skylar Neese case. I thought he was talking about the Slender Man case,
yeah.
which is another one
Very
where
similar.
a group of 3 girls, 2 of them turned against the other one and planned
Lured
a
her
murder.
out to
And
the
they were
woods,
like
yeah.
way younger than this. And
I
their
don't
thing
fucking
isn't
get that.
they see so much crime and they see so much shit on TV that they, because they're so young, which is why young people aren't allowed to vote, own guns, drink, drive, there's all these things you're not allowed to do because you can't rationalize anything. Granted, even 18 is still super young for a lot of stuff, but these kids are like 15, 16, whatever, and they think, oh, I don't like somebody, I'm going to kill them. That's like not a thing. But they don't understand murders until they're like, oh shit, I'm at the police station. I took a life. I can't reverse it.
And my life
Yeah.
is
If I may say though, like reflecting on my teenage years, like I think that there's something else. Like
Yeah.
Well,
in the way that like that is so fucking extreme.
Right.
I understand stealing or things
Yeah.
like doing things that you're like, I
Yeah.
didn't realize this was a real repercussion.
Yeah.
But even like saying what you're saying, yes. But like I feel like murder is just like way not the same.
Yeah.
It really brings it back to the nature versus nurture conversation.
Yeah.
Where are you born just not realizing that there's repercussions
Yeah.
or consequences for your actions?
But take
But
the
then
whole
do
like
you
someone's.
learn?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, do you learn that if these girls, because Skylar was the one that's this straight A student. These other girls, they weren't like necessarily bad influences.
Yeah.
I think they were normal teenagers, but they were also only children. And who knows? Maybe they did get away with a lot of things that they didn't realize or they didn't think there could
Yeah.
maybe they
also
thought they could
just-
get away with it.
I also
you know?
just feel like that is not a good enough answer for me.
Yeah. Oh, I
Do you know what
agree.
I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
No.
I'm like, what is it? Like, someone at some point, like in these things that you watched, was there something where, like, I mean, I get these girls kind of weren't giving an answer. Like, that's the whole thing is you don't really know the motive. Even separate from the motive, like, if you ask their parents, like, was there ever a moment that you knew that, like, something was a little off with your kid? Most, like, murderers' parents, like, interviews, they were like,
hurting
yeah,
animals.
like
or-
yeah, or something
Right.
weird where like
Yeah, there are
something
other
like
signs.
kids aren't that fucking sly. Like obviously they got caught doing this, even though it was planned. It's like at what point did you hear her talking shit about her? Like was there something like where you felt like maybe Rachel and Sheila's relationship was like inappropriate or not inappropriate that being gay is inappropriate, but that like you noticed something wasn't just friends and this isn't normal teenage girls hanging out. Like did you notice something that felt
Yeah.
off?
I feel like for as many parents that say that they noticed something, there's twice as many that say like, no, they were fine. I never
Well,
noticed anything.
Here's the interesting thing to tie that into this case is that Skylar's parents attempted, and I don't know if they won the case. They sued the parents and the children,
Go off.
Rachel and Sheila. So they sued Rachel and Sheila for the damages, but also the parents of them, saying that the parents should have known or are responsible for not paying
Yes.
attention to their kids.
They're
Which-
responsible for their minor children.
Yes. And they won it. It's like a $5 million settlement that they might not ever really see.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure how I
But
feel about that.
but that's the thing is,
interesting.
I don't know how I feel about it either
Yeah.
because they also weren't involved in their own child's life enough to know that she was sneaking out at night.
But this
to
happens
go-
all the time. I mean, take the fact that somebody's
Yeah,
life
I think
got
that
taken
that's-
away.
I think
There's people that their kids do drugs and they never know about it for years. There's people, they commit crimes and they didn't know about it. Oh yeah, did you know I stole something?
I do get the idea of
You
like
and I, Joey,
someone
were
being
unsupervised all the time, and we never once were plotting a murder.
Yeah.
But
And that's what I'm saying is I think there's just something different about people who commit murders. And even if it was like Sheila was like, I understand the whole like pack mentality and that like when you're like super, like if someone's convincing you need to do something and that peer pressure is a real thing. Because sometimes I'll talk to my friends about like unrelated topics, but like things about being like, oh yeah, when you're a teenager and you felt this way. And they're like, that's no excuse for like stupid shit. Like, be mean to your friend or like dumb shit like or like liking a boy and let him be mean to me when I was 14. Like it's like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
You just think you're like
that's why you're still adolescent, like you were saying.
When you experience more things, other shit starts to feel not as important. Like when you look back on how you felt about your first breakup and you're like, I thought my life was over, and it's like you don't really care now. Like it's like you grow and things are more important. But it's kind of like, so I understand like if one of them was like the ringleader of this and then like the other one kind of just like got themselves
more
in,
like what's her face was.
Yeah.
Rachel was like being,
so Sheila,
so Sheila was the ringleader and
Yes.
Rachel was being like
exactly
peer pressured into this. But it's also like there is no fucking way that you can tell me that if somebody interviewed Sheila that like a professional like wouldn't be like, yep, like
we gotta
she's
keep an eye on her.
like there's something like not like necessarily expected, but there's just no fucking way that like there wasn't some sort of sign that whether she was upset with her friend and her parents never noticed. And I understand you being like they're removed or like I could see how that happened, but it's just like hindsight.
Yeah.
Like now looking back, now that this has happened, you're telling me there was nothing
no
you
signs.
ever saw. Was your child like overly aggressive? And usually like when people are committing murders, it's usually like Kylan said, it's usually something like, yeah, they like tried to kill animals when they were younger. And maybe like they were just like a little off. And like, or like,
yeah, no, and
You know what I
that
mean?
is
Like, that's
probably
just
the
not a
most
good
frustrating thing about this case is that there's no real answer.
Yeah.
There's
I just
no
didn't like
there's no
her.
answer that I mean, even if she just said I'm a sociopath or
It
something.
may just really be as simple as like we just didn't like her anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
did they stay in contact? Sheila and Rachel?
so they're actually in the same like corrections facility right now together.
Oh shit! But like, was there anything about like when this went to trial? Was there any information about like them still? I mean, I'm assuming they couldn't really be in contact because there was a trial. But like, were they like trying to stay
In the
being
same
homies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they were like this was a good idea, or were they like, oh shit, we got caught and now we're
I
responsible?
wouldn't say that. I would say that they ended up not going to school after like it really started popping off and they really started getting looked at.
Yeah.
And Rachel obviously was still like stressing out about this shit, while Sheila, she was posting things. What you'll see on a lot of other I guess people that cover this is that there's a lot of tweets, a lot of Facebook posts that are involved with this because of the optic of, well, why would you act like that or say these things if your friend just went missing and they found her body and now she's dead. So when they officially found her body, the police didn't tell her that Rachel led them to the body. So Sheila didn't know that Rachel had confessed.
Yeah. Do you think that like, I mean, I guess that like we didn't get a straight answer, but was there any information on like if later they were like, yeah, we regret that, like that was stupid?
Rachel does.
Rachel's like, yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, Rachel's like, she showed regret from like the very beginning of the trial all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Obviously, the parents are like, "Fuck you, we don't care." Sheila, on the other hand, I think
just kind
tries to play it off,
kept face.
Yeah, but
Jeez.
yeah,
Wow.
Dang.
Thanks for that.
there it is.
There it is.
The first case with the live audience.
I know. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Never happening again.
Joey's been wanting
If
to be
you
here
want
forever.
more Joey toast on your on your videos, comment
Shout it out,
on
girl.
Instagram.
This is your time.
True
There
Crime
you go.
Banter
Yeah.
on Instagram and YouTube and Apple Podcast and
Yeah.
Spotify and
And everywhere you listen
Also,
to your podcast.
well,
Maybe
what
not,
if they
though.
want a fine dining experience? Where can they find you?
If you want a fine dining experience,
If you're in the Seattle area, the greater
come to
Seattle.
Marmite in Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Don't like harass me though. If this goes off and I get like stalked, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, that's all right, girl.
But yeah,
Marmite.
Marmite. It's a
Capitol
French
Hill,
word.
Seattle.
Like Marmite, Marmite.
Marmite.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Kylan,
Marmite.
what about you?
Well, long story short, don't let a group of 3 girls be friends.
Yeah.
honestly. It always
Okay.
goes wrong.
And anything
No
else
more
besides
than
those
2.
wise words? Anything else besides that?
If you want to see more of this beautiful face, Kai.Layton on Instagram. Thank you.
And
There you go.
no, you don't want anybody to visit your work. You're fine.
No,
Okay.
hell no. But
Hell no.
shout out to my amazing hosts. It's been great.
And Tito, and this has been another
But again,
episode
comment on Instagram if you want me to come back.
Yeah,
of the True Crime Banter podcast.
True Crime Banter.
Ew.
Thanks for watching.
Hey.
Guys, see you next time. Wayo.